From Monrovia, a pleasant good evening and welcome to King's News Broom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one globe. I'm Stephen Compton. First, the headline. Governments of Liberia and China signed a development cooperation agreement valued at approximately 14 million United States dollars. Foreign Minister Sarah Beslow Yanti says the agreement is aimed at supporting Liberia's developmental initiatives. National Security Agency dismisses senior official Peter Jala following allegations linking him and two other officials to again sodomizing of a 15-year-old boy. And as it says, the decision is intended to allow an uncompromised criminal investigation into the matter. And also coming up in the news, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection threatens legal action against social media influencers and content creators accused of exploiting children for online content creation, often involving the use of profanity. And away from home, U.S. President Donald Trump has warned that he could order more airstrikes on Nigeria if Christians continue to be killed in the western region of the nation. Details of these developments, the news bulletin, and the voices of the news makers are all packaged. We are taking a very short break to be right back. Welcome back. Up next is the Bulletin of News with Sam Andrews.
The governments of Liberia and China have signed a development cooperation agreement valued at approximately 14 million United States dollars aimed at supporting Liberia's development initiatives. Speaking at the signing ceremony Friday at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Liberia's Foreign Minister Sarah Beslow Yanti described the signing of the agreement on development cooperation between the two countries as a holistic milestone that would further strengthen the long-standing relationship between the two countries. According to Minister Yanti, the agreement represents a reaffirmation of the strong diplomatic ties built on mutual respect, shared principles, and a common resolve to promote development and prosperity for both countries. She disclosed that the agreement provides 100 million Chinese yuan, approximately 14 million United States dollars in development assistance. Minister Sarah Beslow Yanti also described the support as a compelling testament to China's continued commitment to Liberia's recovery and development aspirations. Also remarking, Chinese ambassador to Liberia, Yen Qingwei, noted that the signing of the new development cooperation agreement between the two countries is significant in strengthening bilateral relations. He described the agreement as a concrete step toward implementing the consensus reached by the two heads of state during a high-level engagement. Ambassador Yen further noted that the agreement gives practical effect to the outcomes of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Summit and reflects the steady progress being made under the China-Liberia Strategic Partnership. The National Security Agency, NSA, has dismissed senior official Peter Bonjala following allegations that he and two other individuals gang sodomized a 15-year-old boy. The agency decision follows investigative findings that link the former NSA official and two other unidentified men to the crime. According to security sources, Jala's dismissal has taken immediate effect and is intended to allow for an unhindered criminal investigation. The alleged act by the dismissed official has sparked public debate as many attributed what they described as the continued abuse of children under the unit party government to the culture of impunity. According to them, the failure of the government to prosecute former deputy in Youth and Sports Minister J. Brian McGill following allegation linking him to raping a 14-year-old minor has given rise to the situation. They challenged the country's justice system to ensure that the 15-year-old minor gets justice. The Ministry of Justice, Gender, Children and Social Protection has threatened legal action against social media influencers accused of exploiting children for online content creation. In a statement issued Thursday, the ministry expressed serious concern over the increasing practice of some social media influencers using children as tools for generating online content, often involving the use of profane languages. According to the ministry, such practice constitutes a gross violation of children's rights and dignity and run contrary to the norms and cultural values of Liberian society. The ministry noted that the use of children in exploitative and profane content undermines the established child protection standards and exposes minors to long-term risks, including stigma, online abuse, and psychological trauma. It emphasized that media institutions and digital platforms should be used to promote reasonable content creation, then supporting efforts of such. The Liberia National Police has arrested and charged Officer Melvin Myers of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency in connection with the death of a civilian during a law enforcement operation in Painesville. According to an LMP statement, Myers has been forwarded to court on the charge of manslaughter following an investigation into a ghetto raid conducted by the LDEA on December 15 last year. The statement added that during the raid, Myers allegedly assaulted Ellis Grant, a 20-year-old resident of Corpus Farm community, which later led to his death. In another development, the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has distanced itself from a social media post by suspended agent Ayuba Kroman, suggesting that he has been reinstated by the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. Agent Kroman, who was suspended recently in connection with Bucky Raw's drug saga, wrote on his official Facebook page indicating that he has since been reinstated. The Civil Law Court has ordered the Ministry of Justice to immediately enforce its Supreme Court mandate in the long-running and controversial case involving a disputed 53.34-carat diamond. The ruling was delivered Friday during the seventh-day jury sitting in December 2025 term, presided over by Judge J. Buema Konto. The matter involved Ibrahim Kroman, holder of a Class C mining license, and was brought before the court through a petition for judicial review seeking enforcement of the court's mandate. The Environmental Protection Agency said climate change is no longer a distant threat to Liberia, but a present and rapidly intensifying crisis already reshaping livelihoods, infrastructure, and national development. Addressing a press conference at EPA head office in Monrovia, the executive director, Dr. Emmanuel Yakpaulo, said the erratic rainfall to devastating floods, recent events, particularly throughout 2025 and in early 2026, have highlighted the urgent need for coordinated action by government, communities, and international partners. According to the EPA executive director, the impact aligns with scientific projections linking rising global temperatures to increased atmospheric moisture, stronger storms, and more frequent heavy rainfall events across the country. Former Minister of National Defense Brownie Samuka has disagreed with the argument of the country currently being divided by political criticism. Appearing on Trick Breakfast Show Thursday, the former defense minister and winner of Lofa County 2020 senatorial election said the current political debate is a sign of healthy democracy. Brandon Samukai argued that diverse opinions doesn't mean the country is divided, maintaining that debate reflects the different sides of society that can be combined into a single range of development. The former defense minister maintained that criticism is both expected and healthy, emphasizing the importance of technocrats, sociologists, economists, and other specialists in shaping policy decisions. He noted that democracy depends on disagreement and criticism from opposition leaders, which, according to him, can sharpen policy outcomes for the country. Brani Samuka also criticized further that the criticism on policy implementation from critics toward president suggests that shortcomings is from appointed officials rather than head of state. The managing director of the National Transit Authority, Edward Ford, has described the institution under the CDC-led government as almost completely destroyed. According to him, the Barker-led administration inherited only 113,000 Liberian dollars and 41 US dollars in NTA's account. And a former employee of Monster Garage, Buema Ama, has accused the company's management of engaging in what he described as poor labor practices, including unsafe working conditions and unfair termination of his employment. Speaking with Kings FM, Ama alleged that Monster Garage routinely failed to provide basic safety and employment protection for its workers. According among the concerns he raised were the absence of safety boots for employees, lack of official identification card, and what he described as persistent mistreatment of workers while on duty. Ama accused the management of abandoning him after he sustained a severe injury while performing his duties. According to him, he broke his leg on the job but was left without medical or financial support from his employers.
I'd like to say many thanks to Sam Andrews for the bulletin of news. Is a regular featured on King's News Broom. One of our top developments this evening, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection threatens legal action against social media influencers and content creators accused of exploiting children for online content creations, often involving the use of profanity. Taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you voices of the news makers. Welcome back. Let's not take our first development. The governments of Liberia and China have signed a development cooperation agreement valued at approximately 14 million United States dollars aimed at supporting Liberia's developmental initiatives. Speaking at the signing ceremony on Friday at the Foreign Ministry, Foreign Minister Sarah Beslow Yanti has described the signing ceremony between the two countries as a milestone, historic milestone that will further strengthen the long-standing relationship between the two nations. According to the foreign minister, the agreement represents a reaffirmation of the strong diplomatic ties built on a mutual respect, shared principle, and a common resolve to promote development and prosperity for both people.
It is an honor to, on behalf of the government and people of the Republic of Liberia, to sign this agreement. It is an occasion that's significant because it marks another important chapter in our long-standing partnership. It is a reaffirmation of our relationship, built not merely on agreements, but on enduring principles, show respect, sovereign equality, non-interference, and the shared resolve to pursue development and prosperity of our peoples. This agreement today, which we are privileged to sign, provides gratuitous assistance of 100 million renminbi yuan, which is about 14 million US dollars, stands as a compelling testament to China's unwavering commitment to Liberia's development aspirations. It reflects the wisdom and foresight of the high-level engagement between your president, President Xi Jinping, and our president, President Joseph Mahawa, during the high-level discussions held in Beijing during the Forum on China and Africa Cooperation. It also reflects the work that's been done on the ground between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Finance, and other ministries of government, and the Embassy of the People's Republic of China. We deeply value your development philosophy. We deeply value the philosophy that places people at the center of progress and emphasizes initiatives that are practical, impactful, and results-oriented. Your support to the government of Liberia through your initiatives with the post-military hospital, the Liberia Broadcasting System, your support to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, capacity building, your support to various entities of government is not taken lightly because these are tangible results that can be measured. We wish to assure our Chinese partners that the government of Liberia approaches this cooperation with the utmost sense of responsibility, and we will be working with our other partners in government, including the Ministry of Finance, to look at the priority areas of their REST agenda that require the investments that you're now making today.
Also, in remarks at the signing ceremony, Chinese ambassador to Liberia, Chen Shukun, noted that the signing ceremony of a new development cooperation agreement between the two countries is a significant move in strengthening bilateral relationship between the two countries.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to attend today's signing ceremony of the agreement on the development and cooperation between the government of the People's Republic of China and the government of the Republic of Liberia. This is another new agreement between our two countries in the field of development and cooperation, following the agreement we signed last March. According to this agreement, China will provide Liberia with 100 million RMB to implement cooperation projects jointly agreed upon by both governments and aligned with Liberia's national development priority. It is my firm belief that signing such an important agreement at the very beginning of the new year will set a positive tone for China-Liberia in the year ahead. The signing of this agreement represents a concrete step in implementing the consensus reached by our two heads of state and the outcome of the Beijing summit of the Forum on China-African Cooperation, as well as in deepening the China-Liberia strategic partnership. In 2024, President Xi Jinping and President Joseph Mahawa successfully met in Beijing, elevating bilateral relations to a strategic partnership and opening broader prospects for our cooperation.
The National Security Agency has dismissed senior official Peter Jalal following allegations that he and two other individuals can sodomize a 15-year-old boy. The entity's decision follows an investigative findings that linked the former NSA official and two other unidentified men to the crime. The alleged act by the dismissed official has sparked public debate as many attributed what they termed as the continuing abuse of children under the Unity Party administration to the culture of impunity. According to them, the failure of the government to prosecute former Deputy Minister Brian McGill following allegation linking him to raping a 16-year-old minor has given rise to this situation.
Well, in the country yesterday, they were passing around. Rescue mission, rescue mission. We thought the mission was not even rescue for all the whole mission. And was ready. They were mission, but they all their risk. They said, what the mission was doing that. But they get it to the people. That is here. So more better come on, they say. What the mission? They're ready, they move in for the super money. That way, that boy or that who will that boy that man. They're not for nothing. And the money what they say looking for devil, they will opportunity to still bring a member. The next year, 11 alone, bring him back. Look at the type of thing that happened. 3 million on our baby. Unity Party, not just for that. When the town or area, Joseph Baka, that they will go getting the country was. They got to come on this. One of my friends was more experienced than the concentrate again. Before you promote the other one, you have nothing can do to that. Yeah? All of them are not getting. You say, not the other machine.
The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has distanced itself from a social media post by suspended agent Ayubad Kuroman suggesting that he has been reinstated by the entity. Agent Kuroman, who was suspended recently in connection to the Bucky Rolls drug saga, wrote on his official social media page, indicating that he was reinstated by the entity. However, speaking with Kings FM Friday, LDEA Public Relations Officer Orlando Demin termed the information as false and deliberate.
Hello, he has not been reinstated. It was on yesterday when Ayuba called me and told me that he had been reinstated by the director and he wanted me to post on the page that he had been reinstated. And I know if the director reinstates you, he will communicate with me directly, and then I will use that communication to post on the page that you have been reinstated. Then, unfortunately, last night when I went home, I saw on his page that he had posted that he had been reinstated. I said, how can Ayuba say he been reinstated without my consent? Unfortunately, this morning, while on my way to work, I was called by one of the officers. Ayuba had been arrested from the P and was taken to the office to HQ where he's currently in jail. I said, why? I said, because he lied that the director had reinstated him, which of course is false and misleading. So myself, when I heard the information, I went into the director office and he told me that it was false and misleading. He had never given any order that Ayuba should be reinstated and he should start work. So that's why we put that statement up that Ayuba intentionally lied on the Labrador Drug Enforcement Agency that he had been reinstated. So now we are guarding him. He's currently in the cell of the Labrador Drug Enforcement Agency, and we are turning over to the Board of Internal Inquiry and Investigation to further probe into his the issue level against him. Because now this is the second time of posting on Facebook. The first time it was in connection with Bucky Road, and now they are now accused the agency falsely. So the board will then investigate the case further. After that, the county now will communicate that on the social media for the public to be aware.
The Environmental Protection Agency says climate change is no longer a distant threat to Liberia, with the present and rapidly intensifying crisis already reshaping livelihood, infrastructure, and national development. Addressing a press conference Thursday at the EPA head office in Monrovia, EPA Executive Director Dr. Emmanuel Yakwalu said the rainfall, devastating flood, recent event, particularly throughout 2025 and to 2026, have highlighted the urgent need for collaborated and coordinated action by government, community, and international partners.
I address you today on an issue that touches every Liberian. Our rainfall pattern, our farms, our roads, our homes. For generations, Liberian seasons follow a clear and dependable rhythm. The rainy season not only range from May, April to May, October, and the dry season from May, October to May, April. Farmers rely on this pattern to know when to plant and harvest. And engineers rely on it to plan construction and development works. However, in recent years, especially in 2025, and now early 2026, this pattern has changed. Instead of experiencing a clear dry season, Liberia has been recording persistent and unusual rainfall, often accompanied by strong winds and flooding. Floods and storms displaced thousands of people, destroyed homes and washed away properties, and made living conditions extremely difficult in Monrovia in these surrounding communities in other parts of Nigeria. Even now, but what is causing this problem? Many Liberians are almost inevitably asking why our weather and climate are changing and why these events are becoming even more dangerous. The simple and honest answer is climate change. Climate change is not a distant problem or a future threat. It is happening now, and Liberia is clearly experiencing its effects. For Liberia, this means heavier rainfall outside of traditional season, stronger storms, and more frequent flooding. Liberia has over 560 kilometers of coastline, and nearly 60% of our population lives along or near the coast. If this trend continues, thousands of Liberians could lose their homes and vital infrastructure such as roads, hospitals, coastlines will increasingly be in danger. The second major threat is the changing pattern and intensity of rainfall. Rain no longer comes when it is expected, and when it does, it often comes in large and destructive amounts. This directly threatens agriculture, which depends almost entirely on natural rainfall.
The EPA executive director further maintained that failure to act decisively would deepen inequality and economic vulnerability, especially with strong government, international cooperation, among others.
While climate change is driven by global factors, local environmental practices are making its impact worse. Heavy reliance on charcoal production and firewood, the increasing number of old and fuel inefficient vehicles, industrial emission, deforestation, destruction of wetland, poor waste management, and pollution in rivers and streams by mining activities all weaken our natural defenses against flooding and extreme weather. These changes are already affecting national development. Road construction projects are delayed. Maintenance costs are increasing. Development plans based on all climate assumptions are no longer effective. Our farmers are among the highest hit. Unpredictable rainfall causes seeds to rot in waterlogged soil, crops to fail, and others to decline. This affects rice, cassava, vegetables, and tree crops, leading to higher food prices and greater food insecurity. Government intervention. The government of Liberia is actively responding to these challenges. Liberia continues to advocate strongly at the global level for climate justice, adaptation finance, and loss and damage support for vulnerable countries. The government is also advancing coastal defense projects to protect communities, roads, hospitals, and economic access for sea level rise and storm surges. At the same time, the Environmental Protection Agency is strengthening environmental governance by improving monitoring of mining activities, enforcing environmental laws, protecting forests and wetlands, regulating pollution, polluting industries, and promoting climate smart agriculture. Call to action to all Liberians and residents of Liberia. However, government action is not enough alone. Every Liberian and everyone who resides in Liberia has a role to play. I urge all citizens and residents of Liberia to protect forests and wetlands, stop unnecessary deforestation, keep our communities clean, avoid flooding villages and village systems, reduce pollution.
Executive Director Dr. Emmanuel Yapaulo there speaking. And now we have an hour past the news presentation. There's a reminder. You are following the Friday, January 9, 2026 edition of Kings News Broom. And top stories we are following this evening. Governments of Liberia and China signed a development cooperation agreement valued approximately 14 million United States dollars. Foreign Minister Sarah Beslow Yanti says the agreement is aimed at supporting Liberia's developmental initiatives. National Security Agency dismisses the senior official Peter Jala following allegations linking him and two other individuals to again sodomizing of a 15-year-old boy. NSA says the decision is intended to allow an uncompromised criminal investigation into the matter. Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection threatens legal action against the media influencers, and content creators accused of exploiting children for online content creation, often involving the use of profanity. Away from home, U.S. President Donald Trump has warned that there could be another airstrike on Nigeria if Christians continue to be killed in that part of the West African continent. Taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you more developments. Welcome back. Up to this development, former Minister of National Defense, Brandon Samukat, has expressed disagreement with the argument of the country currently being divided by political criticism. Samukat argued that diverse opinion does not mean the country is divided, maintaining that debate reflects the different shapes of society that can be combined into a single range of development.
No, I think diverse opinion doesn't necessarily mean the country is. As a matter of fact, it provides a better focus on the different shades that we can combine looking through the single spectrum that we call development. Different shades to it. So I think the debate is healthy. Every legislature has its own ethics. Every ethos, that's what they have. Different way of different attitude. You see legislature in Thailand fighting. You see legislature in Singapore fighting to express the idea. In Korea fighting. Here we are debating the issue. So there's a diversity of opinion. We show the diversity of our culture and our environment. So I think it's very helpful. What I can say is that the president espoused his power. He gave us a direction that he's leading that he wants us to follow. It is incumbent upon us appointed to those positions to deliver for the president based on the strategy that have been approved, the resources that are available that we can account for, and the results that we have said we're going to achieve. That's where the issue comes out. How long it take us to achieve? For example, a criticism of certain kind of implementation does not mean you're criticizing the president. It simply means that those given the task to implement certain things are probably not doing it in the context of which it is expected. Diverse opinion sometimes is very healthy for democracy, so that you alone don't have all of the ideas. That is why you have sociologists, you have economists, you have mathematicians, and different kind of technocrats in whose diverse opinion you can take in the final decision that you make.
The managing director of the National Transit Authority at Month 4 has described the institution under the CDC-led government as almost completely destroyed. According to him, the Boyka-led administration inherited only LD 113,000 USD $41 in the NTH accounts, with no substantial information regarding other accounts created under the authority. For explained that the institution was in a complete state of collapse and who have been totally destroyed had the CDC remained in power.
When we took over the National Transit Authority, we took an inventory of how we met the institution, and to authenticate what we recorded, we wrote the General Auditing Commission to conduct an entry audit so that at the end of our tenure, when we are leaving, there will be an independent verifier to state what we actually met there. In terms of employee welfare, when we took over, we met the institution very broke. In fact, in one of our discussions, I said the total amount in dollars and cents that we met at the entity was 113,000 Nigerian dollars and 41 US dollars. In fact, a draft copy of the GAC report even put me clearly wrong because there were accounts that were open that we did not receive information about, and we got those information as a result of the audit, and almost all the accounts are in negative, which means a liability to the institution. So if I take that into consideration, it means we met the entity deep in negative. However, there were some people that tend to challenge what we said, and I told them I would need ask the bank to publish it directly from the bank, and you will see exactly what we're talking about. In terms of infrastructure, said it my last time here that we took over the entity with our administrative building. The administrative building was burned down to the ground, and so in 2025 we began the construction of a new administrative building. As we speak, they should be casting the first floor of that building this morning. We are now trying to renovate our terminus. Four terminus were constructed in 2014. In fact, the fourth one was not completed up to 2017. Three of them was fully completed, furnished well in Bangabon County, Obanasaka, and Cape County, and Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. Unfortunately, those terminals were massively looted in the past 6 years.
Coming up very shortly is our foreign development, but this development says that pays. A former employee of the Monster Garage boycott, Aman has accused the entity's management of engaging in what he described as poor labor practices, including unsafe working condition and the unfair termination of his employment. Speaking with this station, Aman alleged that Monster Garage routinely failed to provide basic safety and employment protection for its workers.
I started work at Monster Garage in March 2020. I worked there for 2 years, 3 months. On the 11th of June 2022, I went to work. I was a veterinary at the garage. I worked there on the 11th of June, which was on Tuesday. I went to work. Because this garage, we worked there from 8 to 6. This is garage, we don't have any article, don't have no dressing room, even safety gear. We don't have it. So I went in the bathroom to use the bathroom. While coming back home, I had been my foot got broken. You can see it. While I'm consuming, I was not able to give it there down from the company for salary. I spent 4 months out of the dollar to add it to salary. To add, if it helped me for me to get money to even keep them up. Here's why I'm here. I was not able to continue to 2 million. I was supposed to go back to the dollar in a thing. I started work on the 1st of October 2020. In June 2025, we had a misunderstanding between us and him because the garage there is no battery charger there. So he told me to charge the battery, to be charging the battery on the car. By charging the battery, mistakenly, my petrol or another was doing another way. He finished on the car. He came out with yelling to me, what you have to finish on the car, you know, telling me, but my petrol I never knew. So he told me, say, he started, now he had to buy fuel. I told him, say, I don't have money to pay for them. Say, you don't have money, if my car city or something, me, I will fire it. I went home. My electronic called me. So if they have my car city or something, I said, but I told you, I don't have money. He said, okay, tomorrow you can't take your salary. Then the next morning when I went there, he said, go in the office. I went in the office, and they were even signing that. Usually 27 now from 2025. I went in the office and he told the accountant to give me my 1 month salary, which is 150. I already finished taking $50 salary account. So he gave me $100. And I walked away. They half of it. They said they are breaking my kids. But thank God today, I'm in the one now to the minister. The minister on the kids. But the case the way I proceeding is accusing me of speeding, which of course I'm not a criminal. To pay me my 1 month.
And now, away from home, U.S. President Donald Trump has warned that he could order more aircraft on Nigeria if Christians continue to be killed in that West African nation. In a wide-range interview with the New York Times, Trump was asked whether the Christian they strike in Nigeria's northern Sokoto state, tackling Islamic militant, a part of a broader military campaign. He responded that he would have loved it to be a one-time strike, but if they continue to kill Christians, it will be many times strike, he said. Claims of genocide against the Nigerian Christian began circulating last year. It's some right-wing U.S. cycle, but organizations monitoring political violence in Nigeria say most victims of the jihadist group are Muslims. Nigeria's population of more than 230 million people is roughly evenly divided among Christians who predominantly in the south and Muslims who are mostly in the north. For the past 15 years, the northeast of the country has suffered from a devastating Islamic insurgent at the hands of jihadist groups such as Boko Haram and those affiliated with the Islamic State group based in Borno State. The country has also faced an array of the complex security issues in different regions, including criminal, kidnapping gangs, clashes over land, and separate unrest. On this note, this is how we come to the end of today's edition of the news program. But before we take leave of you, a reminder of top stories we close the photo. Governments of Liberia and China signed a development cooperation agreement valued at approximately 14 million United States dollars. Foreign Minister Sarah Beslow Yanti says the agreement is aimed at supporting Liberia's developmental initiatives. National Security Agency dismisses senior official Peter Jallard following allegation linking him and two other individuals to again sodomizing of a 15-year-old boy. NSA says the decision is intended to allow an uncompromised criminal investigation into the matter. Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection threatens legal action against social media influencers and content creators accused of exploiting children for online content creation, often involving the use of profanity. Away from whom U.S. President Donald Trump has warned that there could be more aircrafts on Nigeria if Christians continue to be killed in that West African state. On this note, we'd like to say many thanks to our news writers, editors for making today's news presentation a success. Sam Andrews was here with the news, Bodathe, Newton Tokba, Sarah Control, and ably coordinated the sound. I'm Stevie Conton. Thanks for listening and watching.